we operate solely off of private donations and our fundraisers that we do. So it's important to us knowing that all of that goes into us for us to give to those that are given to us. It's a circle. It is. You have to give to receive, but you shouldn't give to receive, if that makes sense.
Right. 100%. Yeah.
We give because we want to support our community and love the community that we're in, but also knowing when you do that, it does come back to you.
Welcome to the In the Arena podcast. My name is Jared Miguez, a co-host on this podcast that brings you the inspiring stories of our clients who are leaders and innovators across different industries in Southeast Louisiana. They are visionary entrepreneurs, savvy real estate professionals, media creators, military business owners, and community champions. And we are going to showcase the remarkable achievements and share their personal stories. Tune in for insightful conversations, valuable lessons, and motivational stories that are going to reveal their secrets to success and offer you insights to help you on your own path. Welcome to In the Arena podcast. Welcome to the In the Arena podcast.
Yeah.
We're excited to have you.
us.
Yeah, we're excited. We've talked a lot about the purpose of this podcast, and it's to promote St. Tammany Parish and the outlying communities, and Hospice House is a big part of the community. And so this pillar of our podcast, we talk about people who are making an impact on the community. So we want to hear what you guys are doing to make St. Tammany and Southeast Louisiana a better place. So you're the director. So why don't you tell everybody who you are and what the director does and what Hospice House is?
Oh, what do we do? All right, we'll jump in. I am Miranda Parker. I'm the director. I've been with the foundation for 11 years.
Oh, wow.
Started there as the admin assistant to the previous director and worked my way up to where I am now. Director, that's lots of hats. Lots and lots of hats. With a 2-employee operation here, we do lots of things from...
Just the two of you?
Just the two of us.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So everything from budget and marketing and community outreach to hurricane prep.
Is that happening today?
As we're sitting here.
Pulling weeds.
Whenever this gets released, this is
Whatever
right
it takes.
before Francine. We just had alarms go up.
So, everything. We do little honeydews around the house, pull weeds, do our gardening, everything that covers it.
Some honeydews we try to do, and we honey don't.
Yeah.
And then we have to call for backup.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you pull in your honeys for the honeydews? That's a whole nother.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They're great volunteers.
You're
That's
welcome,
nice,
guys.
Yeah. So tell us your name and what your role is.
So I am Cheryl Scaglione. I am the assistant director at the Hospice House. Next month I will be with the foundation for 6 years.
Nice.
Got pulled into it from a mutual friend, basically, but I volunteered for our fundraisers for a few years before. And then when the previous director retired and Miranda took over, found out they were hiring an assistant. So I made an anonymous phone call and said, hey, a little birdie told me. And then it just kind of fell in my lap, literally.
Wow.
So, but I already knew everything about the house and their mission and their goals, and I had been there before. So I came in right before our wine and dine event. It was like, okay, I know what's going on. Like, just give me a direction. Like, what do I need to do?
Yeah.
So it was an easy transition.
Well,
Y'all-
speaking of mission, so what is the mission of the Hospice House?
Our mission there is to welcome in patients to live out their final days in comfort, peace, and dignity. And where no one will truly ever pass alone. And that's big for us. There's, life is hard and life is hectic. And we just feel like every person that comes in there should have the absolute best experience for the end of their life.
Wow.
And their families, too.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. The impact on families. I was rounding out because I'm getting to the fact that I don't know that I've been somewhere where someone doesn't already know about Hospice House. Usually we're bringing on a foundation and it's like, okay, let's get that outreach and really figure it out. I feel like the two of you are like the dynamic duo hopping around all of St. Tammany Parish, and everybody knows Hospice House. They do. But I think it's those defining moments when y'all bring in a family that gets to speak about their experience. I mean, everybody's always moved to tears. Right. So it's not that sexy thing to talk about that, like, okay, we're in the business of dealing with dying.
People avoid us at all costs most of the time.
Honestly.
Yeah.
But I cannot tell you, I mean, y'all know, because both of you know my families personally, we've lost so many people. Mm-hmm. And when we're going through those challenges recently, y'all always come to mind, because that's just a Band-Aid that y'all are putting on the community and on families over and over again. I mean, how many families have y'all serviced?
So in the 10 years that we have been open, we're just over 450.
Wow.
So, and that's for when we had a room available, I mean,
Right.
we could have helped double that, triple that. You never know. And thank you for that. We love, we come across people every day that have never heard of us.
Really?
So we get the other side of that.
Shocking
I didn't
to
want
me.
to call you out in the middle of saying that, but I'm like,
Yes.
no,
Every day.
that's so untrue.
I mean, I sit on a few boards, and I was at one of the board meetings, and for this foundation, another organization is involved, and literally they used you all as a standard. I mean, how amazing is that? Like, I know, right? All the air fives and props, like it's hard. It's hard asking for money. We chatted about it before we got started. How many foundations are in the state of Louisiana?
Over 30,000.
Over 30,000,
Yes.
which on one hand is like, wow, the beauty behind that, right?
Right.
On the other hand, as a lawyer who helps boards and nonprofits, it's scary,
It's
right?
like, wow.
Because not everybody knows how to operate. But add that to the challenge of the fact that you need to be community funded, right? And that's where I think you all stand out because you are there and you're supporting other organizations and you're supporting people in the community. Like we see you over and over again. And so when you're present for those businesses, it's easy for us to turn around and say, this is somebody that understands our community, so we want to give to their foundation. And I think there's just a lot to be said for that. So thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's important to us because, we are completely community driven. So, really important for us. Like we don't get government funding. We don't charge insurance for our patients and families to be with us. We operate solely off of private donations and our fundraisers that we do. So it's important to us knowing that all of that goes into us for us to give to those that are given to us. It's a circle.
It is.
You have to give to receive, but you shouldn't give to receive, if that makes sense.
100%. Yeah.
We give because we want to support our community and love the community that we're in, but also knowing when you do that, it does come back to you.
Right. It's
And
that
there's
word, that
nothing-
ecosystem.
Right?
Yeah, and there's nothing more beautiful. We've had a few patients and their families that come through the doors that have been huge supporters of our mission for years and years and years. And to get those phone calls of, okay, wait, now I need you.
Yeah.
I'm there.
Is like, oh my gosh, like that full circle thing experience is like, we are so glad to give back to those who have truly, literally, blood, sweat, and tears, helped us in the
So,
long
so
run,
let's
too.
tell the audience who may not know about Hospice
Right.
House.
Let me take my foot out of my mouth, and you can tell everybody what
tell-
you do.
So what does Hospice House do for families?
So the Hospice House is exactly that. It's a 3-bedroom home that we have here in St. Tammany Parish. We welcome patients that have been determined by their hospice agency to be terminally ill, end of life, within their last 90-ish days of life. They come into our home. Their hospice agency sees them in our home just like they would in theirs, but we provide a 24-hour caregiver. So we have one caregiver for our 3 bedrooms, our 3 patients, and they downright spoil our patients. If they want an ice cream sandwich at 3 a.m., they ring a button and they get an ice cream sandwich at 3 a.m. I mean,
awesome.
it's really, that's what it is. And, families are welcome. We don't have visiting hours like 9 o'clock. We're not kicking anybody out. If they want to move in with their loved one, we have the ability to do that. They can move in, they can stay the entire time until their loved one passes. So they can be as much or as little involved as what works for them.
Wow.
Such a beautiful thing. And I think everybody started to fear that with COVID. Like I remember when my dad was hospitalized and we couldn't be with him. Like it's painful. Or when I was in ICU and they would constantly be trying to make Jason leave and he's like, I'm not leaving. So just the simple fact of knowing you're there to support your family and there's no restrictions. I think that's the beauty of what I've heard for anybody that's gone through the program. There's no restrictions. Y'all are just there to support.
Yeah, as long as you, this is going to sound terrible, as long as you don't disturb our other patients and you don't do anything illegal, that's your space.
Yeah.
That's your journey. What you do in that room that's for you to determine. That's not for me to determine. It's not our place to say this is how you should live out your final days or this is how you should support your loved one. We give you the space, we give you the support with the caregiver, and then everything else is your journey.
Yeah.
I think one of the most beautiful things, and Miranda and I get this, but to have other people acknowledge that we had a lady and her husband was with us, and every day she came about 9 o'clock. She was there till about 3-ish every day, and then she would leave and go home. And when he finally passed, she stopped by our office and was like, I just want to thank you. Like, you gave me time knowing he was in a safe, clean, well taken care of space to go handle the things that I needed to handle. And then I got to sleep in my bed by myself before that became that harsh reality. And it was like, oh, she gets it. Yay, that's exactly what we do, you know? Right. And because we're not just for transition for patients.
Yeah.
I've learned more and more. We are transition for families. And people ask us all the time, how do you do that? How do you deal with death every day? And that's how. Like, I don't focus on the dying, death, and all of those things. I focus on when you have people crying from the relief that they feel from that caregiving pressure being taken off. And we just tell them, we'll do everything, just come love on them. That's all you have to do. And the relief that they get when they've been taking care of somebody for a year, 2 years, 5 years, it's like, I mean, they will be in there crying.
Yeah.
You know.
That's awesome. So what is the time frame in which you said 90 days? So is that it's usually the rule, but how do y'all regulate that?
It's a very gray rule, because I can tell you, I mean, when we first opened, we had a patient that was with us for 11 months. That was not our normal. That's still not our normal. She came to us. She was 54 years old. She had glioblastoma, which is brain cancer. When she came to us from MD Anderson, they gave her 3 weeks.
Wow. And
she lived with us for 11 months. And as long as there's a decline, you know, and that's determined by the hospice nurse, by the hospice agency, they're our clinical aspect. As long as there's a decline, then, you know, we're cool. But with only 3 rooms and being free, we want to help as many people as we can.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we don't want people there for 2 days.
Sure.
Which has happened. We've had 18 minutes. Patient came to us for 18 minutes and passed. Like, not cool.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, as long as there's a need and there's a decline, that they're still in this progression, then they're welcome.
Yeah.
We are not long-term care, though.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, I understand that. And so you said the mission. What are the 3 things you said? What's the mission of the hospice house? Comfort, care, and dignity. I like that. And so what's the goal for hospice house long-term? What are y'all looking to do?
Well,
we got lots of things.
I'm glad you asked. No. So as I've mentioned, we're 3 bedrooms, and that is, if you're 4 or more bedrooms, you're considered a group home. And whether you charge or you don't charge, you have to abide by state and federal regulations. Okay. Being 3 bedrooms, it's our home. It's ours. We and our board of directors govern the house. So we are looking to expand to a second house. Gotcha. To provide our services to 3 more families at a time in St. Tammany. So we are currently looking for land. Gotcha. To be able to expand. We have a donor. We're just trying to
Covington, Mandeville.
Gotcha. So St. Tammany Parish, and on our West St. Tammany Parish, y'all are going to. So I plan on building this next house yourself. Yeah. Did y'all build the first house?
We did.
Okay, so y'all built it to kind of suit y'all's needs, and that's what y'all looking to do again. So y'all looking for a place to put the house right now.
We are.
What the donor is already agreed to donate for that to build the house.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
So we are all currently looking for land that fits our parameters. Okay. We don't need a huge space, but you know, right now land's a premium. So
it is.
It is. So when at the right time, it will come along.
Sure.
And we're ready to build. And the house is a custom built home. Gotcha. So it's got wider doorways, wider hallways, so that it's wheelchair accessible, it's gurney accessible, all of those things. So there was a lot of thought put into that house.
Yeah. Very cool. And so y'all, tell me about the events y'all have throughout the year. So you said that you'll raise money. Who's in charge of the events?
They do that really well.
It's us.
Yeah, it's combo. Okay.
It's just us. Party of 2.
Yeah. So I've seen y'all at networking events all the time, but tell us about the hospice house events that y'all do every year.
So we have 3 fundraisers throughout the year, main fundraisers. We do little silly odds and ends to kind of just keep life fun. Yeah. But 3 main ones. Our biggest is the Crawfish Cook-Off, which is at Fritchie Park each April. And
biggest is an understatement.
Is an understatement. We usually we usually have last year, but this year we had 61 teams.
No, that was last year. We had 54 this year.
Yeah, we had about 8,500 people.
People that travel from out of state, and I believe there was
Out of
somebody out of the
country.
country
Yeah.
to come
3.
to this
Yeah.
crawfish
Yeah.
cook-off.
Yeah, it's
So
it's a really
Louisiana.
big
Yeah, no
event.
kidding.
Just boiling some
It's a
mud
really
bugs
big
for everybody.
event, but it does pull in people from all over the country, literally all over the country.
Wow.
We did a poll, and it was like 19 states.
Yeah. 19 states and three countries.
That's
that
amazing.
in
come.
Slidell, Louisiana.
Little bitty
Right.
Slidell.
No, I love my
Yes. So we always have bands that perform throughout the day. We went through, we usually order 40,000 pounds of crawfish. This year, we
was a
went through
challenge this year, huh?
43,000 pounds of crawfish. So we got a few little crawdaddies around.
Yeah.
And then we have a golf tournament that's coming up in October 11th this year, holds for hospice. And then we have a wine and dine on November 14th. Every November, we sample 100 plus bottles of wine and spirits.
Cool.
Live auction, silent auction, live music.
Sounds
Local
terrible.
restaurants
Yeah, about to say.
donate food. So y'all should come.
So this is going to roll out probably after the golf tournament. But tell us more about the wine. Where's that going to be, and how do people find out more about it?
It is at the Covington Country Club this
Okay,
year.
cool.
Yeah. And you can get tickets at wineanddinetickets.com. It's $75 per person or $125 for a couple or a pair.
Gotcha. And all of this money is going to Hospice House, so y'all can
100%.
operate and fund the nonprofit that y'all are doing. So the actual staff that y'all have that work for Hospice House, they're employees, these nurses and these caregivers.
No.
So no, we are the only
them.
two.
Gotcha.
We're the only two employees of the foundation. We contract third party with a caregiving company,
Okay.
which is currently Comfort Care,
Gotcha.
and they provide our caregivers.
Gotcha, okay.
So we pay them, which is our largest expense. To overall, I mean that's our largest expense. They're upwards of $125,000-$30,000 a year.
Wow. Okay.
To provide that care. So if anybody's been in that situation, bringing in a caregiver, it's
Yeah.
it's an expense, but it's worth it. They're so worth it. We know there's always going to be somebody there taking care of our patients.
Yeah. That's great. So, do y'all have anything else you want people to know about what y'all have going on? I mean, we talked about your goals and the mission and the events that y'all are doing. So, what else y'all have going on at Hospice House that y'all want people to know about?
We have a grief camp that we do every year as well, which is one of the things that we do to give back to the community that supports us. Ironically, most of our kids that come are not from hospice.
Oh, really?
I think when you're with hospice, they kind of help you process things along the way. This is open to anybody inside or outside of St. Tammany Parish. We don't care where these kids come from. It's for children 7 to 12. We have it at Fountainblue State Park. It is a weekend-long camp, so they spend the night, 2 nights with
fun.
us. And we just do lots of different activities to get the kids to find whatever their avenue is to express their grief, to talk about it, to realize they're not by themselves, to realize that it's really funny when all the kids realize that everybody there is there for the same reason. In their classroom, they might be the only person that their mom passed away, and so they're very isolated. And when you see the kids talking to each other saying, hey, so who died in your family? Like, that's so healing for them, and you don't even realize
Sure.
that partnership is huge.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, finding common ground, common values, and common experiences it makes it easier for you to trust somebody for sure.
And we start at camp with it. First of all, it's okay to grieve. It is okay to feel everything you're feeling, whether you're confused, you're sad, you're angry, whatever that you're feeling, it's okay. Because all of these kids coming from an environment where almost all of them have their guardian is experiencing the loss also. So they're dealing with it or not
Don't
dealing
have
with
their own
it.
space, yeah.
And so the kids don't want to say anything because they don't want to upset their guardian, which they don't realize they're not upsetting. It's the situation. So they just keep it in. And that's the worst possible thing you can do in grief is hold it all in. So that's where we start. Like, it's okay to feel everything that you're feeling, and here are ways that you can work through it.
Yeah.
And, I'm a big believer in building up children so we're not repairing adults.
Sure.
And it's just not done enough. And, if we impact 25, 30 kids a year, that they learn how to work through these things and deal with them, then in 20 years, they're going to be in a different place. And then maybe they can continue that cycle. And it helps if we help one.
My family, my uncle passed away whenever I was in high school, and my family still deals with it today. I mean, it was, I mean, I know it looks like high school like last year for me, but that was,
I was going to say 2 years, but
that was 20 years ago now. And
Yeah.
so, it's like his brother, my mom and my aunts and uncles, and his dad, they still deal with it every year whenever, his
Absolutely.
anniversary of his death. And it was a tragic thing when he passed away, but nobody was giving those, at that point, my uncle's only 3 years older than me. So he was a young guy whenever it happened. So like nobody was giving him any type of guidance or on how to grieve. And, it lives with you the rest of your life in some instances. So I think that's super important.
Well, and the sad part is we're seeing more and more of the tragic deaths. It's almost more rare when little old grandma dies. It's all of the a lot of drug overdoses, suicides. Like we're seeing more and more and more of those kind of kids that come through versus my grandma died.
Yeah.
Brothers and sisters with cancer. I mean, like these little kids. Come spend a weekend with us. It'll put your problems in a big perspective.
I'm sure. That's probably a good thing for some
Be a
people too.
healthy thing to do. Yeah,
no kidding.
healthy thing.
It will put you back in your
myself
place.
Yeah. So what made y'all get so passionate behind being a part of this? I mean, that's great. I mean, how long has the grief, the camp been going on for?
15, 20
Oh,
years.
longer than Hospice House
Oh, yeah,
has been.
longer than
Yeah.
us.
Okay,
Yeah.
I got you. Okay.
It went on long before that, but kind of like Cheryl, this fell into my lap. I mean, I can't tell you that on career day in high school, I was like, this is what I'm going to do.
I'm gonna help people transition.
Right.
Yeah.
But it just fell into my lap and I was like, well, this is, kind of cool. When I started with the foundation the week after we broke ground on the house. So I wasn't involved in the planning process at all. But, I mean, it's personally fulfilling to be able to take people who would otherwise be in a situation that's unsafe, unsanitary, and give them this space where they can really just go in comfort. And they're clean and they're dry and they're fed and all of those things that we take advantage of every single day that, we see it and we see it every day that they just don't have families to support them or, somebody checks on them once a day. We had a patient come that they had a camera set up and would watch the camera and he was alone. I just, there's so many stories that we could get into.
I think I heard you speak about this at a BNI group or a networking group at one point, but people just have a lot going on. And so like just to when somebody gets to that point in their life, you have to, your life doesn't stop
Right.
when your family member gets to that point. So to have somebody that you can rely on so that, like the lady said, she can start transitioning and continue on with her life and know that her loved one's taken care of and she gets the opportunity to say her goodbyes and spend her time. And then they whenever it's time, they pass in dignity.
Right.
As opposed to without that.
Right.
It gives everybody peace of mind, I'm sure.
Well, most people that I know really just can't quit working because they
Correct.
have to take care of somebody.
Yeah.
So it allows families to continue their life and then be able to come whenever they can. I mean, some people, we had one guy got off at midnight every night and he came in after that to see his mom, and so we kind of let them still work their schedule and then they come and spend the time that they can because not everybody, especially in today's time, they can't afford to quit work. Right. And then a lot of places are very expensive and we're free.
Understatement.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and it's no shame to everyone. And it's not even that people can't not work. People are surviving right now.
100%.
And, if we can take that responsibility and that burden off of a family member, go work, go to your kids' swim meet, go do all of those things that you still need to do. Your kids don't understand.
Yeah.
They don't know that.
Well, you have the
this is going
responsibility
on.
to take care of your kids too. And so it's
Right.
hard because like you went from, a loved one that's usually taking care of you to then you having to switch roles, but you also have the work and you have the family to take care of. And it's just hard just to figure out how do you prioritize that. And I can imagine that I've had a similar experience recently. I can imagine that you don't live with regret on how you let that person live out the rest of their life because you were able to provide them with an opportunity or y'all were able to provide them with the sense of comfort and you didn't feel like you didn't do something that you could have done more.
Right.
You know?
You don't have to pick anymore.
Exactly.
When you come to us, you don't have to pick, are you taking care of your loved one or are you taking care of your loved one? Like they're both being taken care of.
Yeah, sure.
We could sit here and give you 400 stories of different families. But in that, one of our patients that was many years ago, her daughter was an oncology nurse. I mean, like this is what she did. And when her mother was diagnosed, she was oncology nurse for her mother. And that's not what mom needed. You know, mom needed her daughter.
Yeah.
And that's what they were able to do. I mean, she was able to, they had a moment there in the room, in our gold room. I mean, like I remember what room she was in, and her daughter was able to just go, she was able to relinquish, and she was able to go back to just being her daughter, which is what her mom needed.
Yeah.
And I don't know that they would have been able to do that somewhere else.
Yeah. Those doctors and nurses don't usually turn that off. My
Right.
dad's a doctor. My dad's a pathologist. My father-in-law's an OBGYN. Talk about the weirdest birthing experience ever. Whenever your father-in-law's an OBGYN, your dad's a doctor. Like,
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Everything's fine, but everything's not okay at the same time.
they're
And
not in
it's just
control.
like I'm just sitting in the couch waiting for them telling me my baby's here. But
You did it 3 times,
did
so
it,
apparently
yeah.
it wasn't that bad.
Wasn't that traumatic?
I think the other part of caregiving that's so difficult is that the patients change, right? You mentioned glioblastoma. That's what my father-in-law had. And we had 6 months with him from when it was a surprise diagnosis to when he passed. And it's affecting your brain. And so his attitude changes, his behaviors change. And I think it's human nature that you need time to process that and adjust to that. So being able to walk away for a moment and realize they're not being mean to you. That's not the person that you love. You know,
Right.
in those moments, I think is another benefit that people might overlook as well, which of course y'all have 400 and some odd stories, you know, to be able to give everybody. But another thing that I want to bring up, just in case people are not aware, is that y'all allow people to come see the home, right? So that they can truly understand how it operates.
We want people to come see the home. You know, it's Cheryl's line is come see me before you need me. But
great.
it's so true
Right.
because, you know, when you leave the doctor's office or you leave the hospital or whatever, you get that diagnosis and you're like, what do I do? But if you've come to the house and you've toured the house and you know ahead of time what it is and what we provide, it's in that moment, it's no longer a panic. It's like, hold on, I can reach out to the hospice house. I can see if this is in our future. And knowing about it ahead of time is so much more useful. We're not really a place for emergent placement. We keep what we call a not ready list because most of the patients on it are not quite ready for us. But, you know, a hospital discharge is not our common patient that comes in. So it's we love to show the community what they're supporting.
Yeah.
Like this is it, brick and mortar. This is what your donations are going to. But also just in the future, know what it is. Know what's available there for you.
We can be used for resources too. Even if you never need the hospice house and you have a perfectly great sense of resource with your family and you want to keep your family member home, that's wonderful. But we have a lot of people in this industry that we know just if you need help, you know, for sitters or for just emotional support, or use us as a resource just for questions, you know, even if you never decide to move your person to the hospice house. That's great too. But you know, to understand your resources, and that's one reason why this is so important, what we're doing here, is because people, they just don't know what they're able to do on their own or where to even go.
Yeah.
Most people that call our phone say, the doctor said I need hospice. That's all they said. Oh my God, I looked up Google hospice and you popped up. Can you help me?
Yeah.
All the time that happens.
So you were good at podcasting because now I'm going to ask you, how do people get in touch with you as we transition out of this?
Boom.
Yeah. So how do people get in touch with the Hospice House if they want not only to, so first let's start with if they need y'all services, how do they get in touch with you guys?
Easiest way is to call us. The phone number is 985-643-5470. You can look us up on our website at thehospicehouse.org.
Facebook.
Facebook, Hospice House.
Tap
Yeah.
your shoulder at every event that you're at.
Yeah, right.
One of us.
And then if somebody wants to donate or be a part of the Hospice House from a donor standpoint, how do people get in touch with y'all? Same way? Same way?
Yep.
And then for all the events and everything, they can go to y'all's Facebook page and find all the events that y'all have going on there. If they want to take a tour of the Hospice House,
Just call
just
us.
give you a
Call
call.
us.
Please don't just
Just
show
show
up.
up,
Well,
okay.
like we're both here.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
not there. So, you know, we absolutely love to give a tour, but just make sure one of us is there.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, look, we appreciate y'all coming on again
very
and,
much.
and supporting St. Tammany Parish is definitely a need that everybody has. And I'm glad that we can let everybody
Yes.
know what y'all are doing.
Thanks
Thank
for
you
having
for the
us, really.
opportunity.
The dynamic duo. We are here.
Yeah.
The standard of foundations. No.
Keep going.
We
keep
have a
going.
new title. We have a new title.
But in all honesty, thank y'all. We appreciate all y'all's support. for the
Thank
Thank
community.
you.